The law always was a bit limited for me. I mean, the rules were the rules, and we know that a lot of people don't adhere to them. So the question for me not so much was why do rules exist or how do you interpret them, but what is it that leads people to avoid them or evade them, to breach them, and for me that was a more interesting question than looking at a book full of rules and just trying to make sense of them. I suppose what really got me into the space was being invited back in the 90s to go to Colombia, South America. The police that I went along to talk to were very much fighting Pablo Escobar and the people there involved in cocaine, and it had an enormous impact on the way in which justice worked, policing worked and so on. So I thought, well, if you're going to study the policing in sort of crisis situations, you've got to understand organised crime. So since that time, the last 15, 20 years, I've been looking more at systems of corruption, systems of organised crime, and as part of working out what to do about it. One of the things that I've brought to Flinders University is something called the Illicit Networks Workshop, and that's a group of scholars from around the world that's interested precisely in that question of how do these groups structure themselves, how do the way they structure themselves affect their resilience when they're under attack from law enforcement. Positive attributes of organised crime sounds a bit like an oxymoron, and yet it's not completely. I mean, in some parts of the world, what we call organised crime is in effect the local government or the local employer. We've got to realise that people have needs, basic human needs, and sometimes the answer to dealing with crime is to recognise those needs. And if we're going to attack the providers of those services in these places because we call them organised crime, we've got to provide them with alternatives.